lovelies. I have not been completely transparent about a few things, and I really want to address them in this video because I feel like it's really important. A little while ago I put out a vlog talking about how I really envisioned this channel being kind of a visual diary of sorts. Partly because I think putting myself out here like this is part of my healing process, and also because I think that the things that we discuss on this channel may benefit one of you out there. So let's talk about my drinking problem. Some of you OG subscribers remember back in the day where I did a lot of drunk vlogging. Some of you actually found them really funny and entertaining, and it was actually the start of me building an audience on this platform. There is actually still a playlist somewhere on this channel that has all of those drunk vlogs compiled into one kind of designated space. Currently, I have no intention of taking those down because it's still part of my life and the history of this channel, and I kind of want to keep them available as much as possible. That's a lie. I did delete some of them, mostly the ones where I was just babbling incoherently into the void. But somewhere along the way, I decided that I wouldn't make those kinds of videos anymore. Partly because I no longer felt some great need to drink in order to calm my nerves before I recorded myself and threw my face out there on the internet, and also partly because I felt it wasn't the most responsible content that I could be making. When I really tried to dive a little deeper into how YouTube functioned and how I could possibly make a career out of YouTube, and I was looking at my analytics every day, I noticed that a lot of my viewers are middle school and high school age. And after looking at that, I just felt awkward, to say the least, to drink so openly on this channel and so much. It was just adding to the perpetuation of the addict-artist stereotype. And despite rebuking the stereotype every chance I got and making fun of it every chance I got, I was unintentionally romanticizing this idea that all artists are these poor, unfortunate souls with alcoholism and drug problems and mental illness, which is not healthy, and it's counterproductive. You are actually less likely to be a successful artist if you have things like alcoholism or severe mental illness and depression standing in the way of your focus on your art career. Trust me, I know. So, back a while, in 2016, in the worst year of my life, I was hospitalized for a suicide attempt. It was the first time I was actually hospitalized for that kind of thing. Usually it was something that I just kept quiet or that my friends helped me with, but I never actually went to the hospital for. And now that I've actually been hospitalized for it, I kind of regret not going the other countless times that I was in that kind of a position. And it had nothing to do with my career as an artist. I wasn't trying to fulfill some romanticized ideal of the artiste. It had everything to do with the fact that I have unresolved PTSD and trauma, and that I had not properly addressed my depression or my bipolar disorder. You haven't been to your therapist in 2 months. I make a lot of jokes about my drinking, and even go so far as to call myself an alcoholic, which I will talk about that in a second. But I never thought I actually had an issue with problem drinking. I always just assumed I was an obnoxiously loud social drinker who occasionally had a shot or 2 or 3 after work, or while I was alone in the studio with my thoughts. That was until I had several doctors point out that my drinking was actually negatively impacting my mental health and that I had a problem with drinking. I think I recognized that I had a problem, but I was in denial of it. I think that my jokes are proof enough of that fact. Those jokes were probably my inner voice screaming at the top of their lungs with the big neon sign saying, "You have a problem." But I elected to ignore it in favor of a good time. Now, to clarify, I am not an alcoholic. I am in no way addicted to alcohol. I have severe depression, which occasionally leads to some really destructive habits. But I'm not addicted. I'm not dependent on it. Define alcoholism.
Alcoholism, an addiction to the consumption of alcoholic liquor or the mental illness and compulsive behavior resulting from alcohol dependency.
I make far too many jokes about alcoholism, and I am in no way condoning it or saying that it is in any way okay, like, at all. Mental illness and addiction are certainly not funny, and I am not purposefully trying to poke fun at it. I've seen what it can do firsthand. I'm really just nervously making fun of myself as a way of coping. Sometimes making jokes is easier to do than accepting the bigger problem. And sometimes joking about it in the way that I was may have actually been a way of me asking for help subconsciously. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it was. I am not a professional. I don't know. I am just giving a self-critique that may or may not be true. You haven't been to your therapist in 2 months. Alcoholism is very prominent in my family. I am predisposed to addiction, and so the thought of being an alcoholic has always been really scary for me, even as a kid. And sometimes I feel like it would just be easier to be an alcoholic and go through a 12-step program to heal and get better than it is to sit there and wonder whether or not you are an alcoholic and have absolutely no idea how to even approach fixing that problem. Which probably makes no sense, but occasionally our brains tell us some very bizarre things. So even though I make a lot of jokes and I'm probably not doing the art community any favors, I don't want to be a bad influence to my viewers and future subscribers and just people in general. I am in no way on any kind of pedestal, but I certainly don't want to dig myself a hole either. However, just because I am not actively making drunk vlogs does not mean that I will not have the occasional drink on this channel. I have not cut alcohol out of my life and have no intention to. And I certainly don't want to paint myself as being a completely different person than how I actually am. I try and be as transparent and truthful as I can on this channel because I feel like that's important, and the whole purpose is documenting myself and my existence and all that fun stuff. And if I'm painting it up to be something that I'm not, then it kind of defeats the purpose. I am not a paragon of good health, and I'm not going to pretend like I am, but I do want to improve. And I think that being transparent and putting videos out like this and talking to you guys, and maybe even talking to you guys in the comments below about these kinds of things, and even helping somebody through a similar problem is what this whole thing is supposed to be about. I want to end this video with some advice. If you think that you or a loved one is having issues with alcoholism or addiction or mental illness, speak up. Be respectful, but speak up. No one should be left to do this alone, and you are not weak for seeking help. With that, lovelies, promise me something. Don't be like me. Oh no. Oh no. So in the last 2 minutes of me recording, my tripod broke. Fuck you. Fuck that thing. It's like $15 at Walmart. Anyway, what I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted is don't be like me. Do not assume that your lot in life or that the status quo of your life is to be sick and miserable. I hope that this clears up a few things about where I'm going with this channel, especially those of you who are wondering if and when I was ever going to make another drunk vlog. I am also sorry if I made anybody uncomfortable with any of the things I was saying on this episode, but I feel like it's really important to be vocal about it and to be as transparent as possible about it, because I think it's really important that we be able to talk about these things like alcoholism and mental health, because I feel like it should be just as normal to talk about it as we do the flu. It really should be something that's so normal that it's not a taboo subject. Nobody should feel like their brain chemistry is so taboo that it can't be discussed. It just, it's a problem, and I don't like it. And I'm tired. It's late. I've been recording for like 3 hours because my camera kept derping. Yeah. I'm gonna try and not drink myself to sleep. Progress, I guess. Anyway, I love you guys. Mwah.